Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're gonna talk about 8 proven methods to fall asleep quicker and easier. It helped me tremendously and are also backed by science. Sunlight exposure is one of the most crucial things when it comes to falling asleep quickly. Our sleep and wake cycle is heavily linked to our circadian rhythm, thus our body's own inner clock. And this clock is basically dictated by a region in our brain called the SNS, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is like the master clock in our body and dictates what time our body thinks it really is. It gathers clues from our surrounding in order to find out what time it actually is, and light happens to be one of the single most important cues for the SNS and thus our brain to determine what time it actually is. And the most important thing here is that you see natural bright light in the morning as early as possible. So what you can do here is to just take a walk when the sun is still low in the early morning hours and get some minutes of sun exposure. It depends on the day, of course. If it's really sunny, then 15 minutes might suffice, but on a really cloudy day, maybe aim for a little bit more, like plus minus 30 minutes. Additionally, if it's still dark or you can't or you don't want to go outside, you can use a so-called daylight lamp, which you can just get cheap from Amazon, and it simulates bright sunlight for you to get those previously mentioned benefits. We are creatures of habit, and our body tries to keep up a somewhat similar rhythm every day. When we wake up, when we're hungry, tired, sleepy, and so on. And this rhythm, on the other hand, gets absolutely messed up when we change our sleeping time every day. Wednesday 6 a.m, Thursday is a bank holiday and you sleep until 10, Friday 6 a.m. again, you go out in the evening on Friday and sleep all the morning until 12 on Saturday, etc. If you stick to plus minus 30 minutes, the same wake up and also bedtime every day, you prime your body to feel sleepy when you actually want to sleep and are energized when you want to wake up. This is so powerful and should be one of the first things you should implement. If you ever had to catch a flight in the morning and had to wake up super early, you will often find that you wake up 5 minutes or so before the alarm actually goes off. And this is so crazy because your body really subconsciously precisely follows a daily rhythm and knows when it's what time. So do yourself a favor and not only get yourself a wake-up alarm, but a bedtime alarm as well. I think telling you not to drink any coffee before bedtime is a no-brainer, of course. But you might be surprised how early it is recommended to stop drinking coffee to optimize your sleep and fall asleep easier. Many people know that they shouldn't drink beverages with caffeine, like coffee, black tea, mate, energy drinks, right before sleep. But the actual ideal time to stop drinking it is around noon. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors in the brain. Normally, adenosine builds up in your brain over the day, which makes you feel more and more tired and eventually will make you fall asleep in the evening. Caffeine tricks your brain by blocking the actual adenosine receptors because it actually looks the same to your cells and fools your brain into thinking that you're not really that tired yet. So it does not really give you energy, but it stops you from being tired for a while. The thing here is that of course you will eventually feel tired again once the caffeine is absorbed in your body, but the time this takes is often underestimated by people, as a cup of coffee doesn't lose its power to keep you awake 2 or 3 hours after you drink it, but no. After 7 hours, only 50% of the caffeine is actually broken down, and only about after 1 full day, most of the caffeine has left your body. Therefore, experts recommend having your last cup of coffee around noon or maybe 2 p.m. depending on your bedtime. I was watching the Euros recently and started to read something about Cristiano Ronaldo and his crazy sleep regimen in order to make sure he performs perfectly each and every day. And perfect performance during the day means perfect sleep the night prior. And besides many things that seem a little bit weird, there was one tip that really caught my attention because this is what I was struggling with as well. Cristiano Ronaldo makes sure to not use his phone or any screens whatsoever 90 minutes before he goes to bed. The problem behind using screens is quite simple. On the one hand, most screens emit blue light. This can be problematic in the evening, as blue light is known to reduce or block your body's own production of the hormone melatonin. And among many things, melatonin functions as a signal to your body that it's time to sleep. Block melatonin and your body won't know it's actually time to sleep, and it won't initiate everything so that you're sleepy and want to sleep. And additionally, screen usage is linked to cognitive activation. Generally, if you want to fall asleep, you want to relax. Calm down, slow down, so that you are getting tired. But screens often prevent this in two ways. As A, we have discussed earlier, you prevent yourself from literally getting tired through a melatonin blockage, and B, the media you consume keeps you awake as well. We binge watch a show, we scroll TikTok and want to get more of that dopamine, we read the news, etc., etc., all of which increases our attention and makes our brain think about stuff. The more you think, the worse you can actually fall asleep. Watch the news about wars, politics, pandemics and more, and your mind will subconsciously think about it all night long. So don't use any screens 90 minutes before bed. This is exactly the opposite of what I told you earlier, but it's also crucial to implement. Light, as we know, is a crucial signal to your SNS and thus your circadian rhythm that it is in fact still day. See bright light during the day and your brain knows it's day. Duh. But do it during the night when you actually want to sleep, and it's a recipe for disaster. If you ever went late in the night to the bathroom, where most people have these horrible bright lamps over the bathroom mirrors, you will most likely know that it could be that you are actually more awake after you brushed your teeth in this bright light than you were actually before. The reason here is that your sensitivity to light in the early phase of the night is much higher than it is later in the night, let's say in the early morning hours. For this reason, even the tiniest lamps and lights in your room can prevent you from actually falling asleep. Here you have two simple methods that I personally do simply combine. First, eliminate all lights in your room. No standby gadgets like your computer, no charging lights, no bright alarms. Eliminate all lights emitted by devices, and then go ahead and try to make also the room itself darker by buying, for example, blackout curtains or things like that. And additionally, I would then also add something like a sleeping mask to be on the pitch black safe side. Often I had the worst sleep and especially couldn't fall asleep when I stayed indoors all day. I don't know, I simply feel like I have too much excess energy on such days and have real problems falling asleep. The funny thing is that on days where I'm just moving all day long, I literally never had issues falling asleep. Like on city trips, for example, where I had 30,000 steps a day, I will sleep like a baby. And this is something easy you can do every day. It depends on what you prefer, but make sure to move enough on a daily basis. Walk, cycle, exercise, jog, whatever. The most important thing is that you're actually out there moving. This helps with your sleep in multiple ways. First of all, simply be tired and really want to sleep. Second, exercising and moving enough really helps with your mood. It reduces anxiety, stress, depressive feelings, which often prevent people from sleeping because they are overthinking things. And additionally, exercise also increases the time you spend in deep sleep, thus the phase of your sleep where you actually regenerate your body. But this can heavily backfire if you do it too late in the day and too close to bedtime. Avoid high-intensity exercise too close to bedtime, so no gym session or sprinting just before sleep, because this will for a couple of hours raise your heart rate and increase your body temperature, all of which themselves are preventing you from actually falling asleep. Summer is around and temperatures are rising. Here in Germany, where I live, ACs are really not that common. And if it's above 30 degrees Celsius for 3 weeks already, it is just so hard to fall asleep because it's so brutally hot. And this is something that applies to every time of the year actually, because our body's temperature is directly linked to our ability to fall asleep. So as we have discussed earlier, our sleep and wake cycle is heavily linked to our circadian rhythm, thus our body's own inner clock and the SNS area in our brain. And because the SNS cannot look up the time on Google, it gathers cues from the surrounding in order to find out what time it actually is. And besides the most important trigger, light, temperature plays a very important role as well. Simply put, if your core temperature is too high, then your body thinks it's still day and won't let you feel tired and fall asleep. This drop in body temperature should occur 1 to 2 hours before bedtime so that your body knows it's time to sleep. So no matter the season, experts suggest that the ideal sleeping temperature should be about 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 18.3 degrees Celsius. So your goal should be to cool yourself and your room down in order to fall asleep as quickly as you can. Things you could do is to open your windows in your bedroom, of course, place a fan in front of your bed, get an AC, use a cooler and a thinner blanket. You could also try putting your mattress on the floor, because down there temperatures are usually cooler. Or if you want to spend some money, then you can buy a mattress cooler where you can adjust the temperature of your bed itself. One very effective basically free and also counterintuitive tip is to take a hot shower, or better a hot bath before bed. The reason behind this is that this will initially increase your body temperature a lot, which triggers your body to cool itself down, which in effect makes you sleepy because your core temperature rapidly drops. So up to now we have already talked about not using your phone or any screens 90 minutes before bed. I would add and suggest going a bit further. I've been following Brian Johnson and his sleep tips for a while now, and one of the things he mentions is that about 1 to 2 hours before bed he goes into sleep mode. Often we work late into the night. We study until it's time to go to bed, we plan for tomorrow, we check our emails, we do chores and to-dos right until the last minute of the day. And what this does is that we give ourselves no chance to actually calm down and physically and mentally prepare for going to bed. This way, our mind is chattering the whole evening, which again adds to the previous problem, cognitive activation. Stressing about things, ruminating, planning, worrying, all of this keeps us awake, and these are actually the worst things you can do to actually fall asleep quickly, because once you put your head on the pillow, there are all these thoughts that want to still be thought about. One way to prevent this is to say to yourself 1 or 2 hours before bed, I'm now in sleep mode. Once a thought pops up in your head, maybe something about tomorrow or something about the current day, something uncomfortable or stressing, you tell yourself, no, I'm now in sleep mode, and I can think about this thought or maybe this problem tomorrow. Additionally, you could also just write it down so that you can tackle the to-do tomorrow. This way you create a free space and a relaxing mental space for yourself that actually encourages you to wind down and relax. Speaking about winding down, you can ideally use this sleep mode time for some sort of a wind down routine. That means doing activities that will slowly make you relax and sleepier, like reading, taking a shower, doing meditation, or just tidying up in your house while listening to some music. There are so many supplements out there that claim to help you fall asleep, and yes, some of them might work for you and some not. The most important thing is that you don't take any prescription or pharmacy sleeping pills, as these have been repeatedly shown to be just harmful for you. Many people swear by melatonin supplementation, as it was shown that it reduces sleep onset time. Loads of people also like valerian root, which generally relaxes you and helps you fall asleep, and the same actually goes for chamomile and ashwagandha, for example. Go ahead and inform yourself about these supplements and do a little bit of A/B testing whether it can help you or not. At the moment I'm experimenting with a stack of sleep supplements that I somehow heard Andrew Huberman or Brian Johnson, or I don't know, talk about on the internet, consisting of L-theanine, glycine, magnesium and inositol, which works like wonders for me. So go ahead and try these things out if you think this is right for you, but be aware that many supplements may have side effects you don't want or counteract some of the meds you take. So always do your research and talk with a doctor about it, whether it's good for you or not. I really hope that you will benefit from these 8 tips, because I used to have huge problems with sleep onset insomnia, and it reduced not only my quality of sleep but also my quality of life immensely. And since I managed to fall asleep quicker with these tips, I just feel so much better. And that is why I made an own video only about sleep, explaining how your sleep works, what your brain and body does at night and why it's so crucial, how you fall asleep, how you stay asleep and wake up more easily in the morning. So make sure to watch this video right here.